It's Monday night, and that means it's time for the 2013 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series live on ETV Live. Tonight, it is race number 2 of the chase here, and we are at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Hello, everybody. My name is Evan Pasoko. As always, joining me up into booth tonight is going to be Harrison Weidlitz. Harrison, it's time for some short track racing. The chase starting to get underway, and everyone's going to be battling to try to assert themselves in a position that they will be able to battle for that championship as these races wind down.
Yeah, just one race into this 10-race chase right now, and everyone is still in it. It's anyone's race to win right now, but I tell you what, last week with Dwayne Vincent's tough luck, he's going to be looking to make a comeback. He's 14 points behind the leader right now and certainly looking to get a good run after a really disappointing finish last week.
And definitely, speaking about last week, it was race number 1 on the chase, race number 27. We were at the Chicagoland Speedway for 107 laps at that 1.5 mile cookie cutter track. And in the end, Chad Cole would take home the win after entering the night second in the points. So he's actually going to go up to the points lead after that win. Eric Arnold, how about that, finishing in the second position. Also, Steve Ritter brought home a solid top 3 for the Red Ash Chassis Works Ohio team. Justin Wilson bringing home a 4th place, and then also CJ LeVere took home a top 5.
Ronnie Potts started his chase off on the right foot, currently sitting 6th in points after a 6th place finish. Dave Lanza came home in 7th last week, Mike Montesi in 8th, Brett McBride in 9th, and Mike King rounded out the top 10.
And that's going to update our point standings again. The 12 drivers making it into the chase were boosted up to above 2,000 points. And then the drivers were given bonus points per win. And then they went back points racing last week. And right now, Chad Cole on top of the points with 2,069 points. Second in points, however, Dwayne Vincent, 14 points back, went into last week's race as your points leader. Had a rough night, so he's going to drop back to second in points. Then now third place, Steve Ritter, 27 points back. 4th place, CJ LeVere, 29 back. You also have Justin Wilson, 29 points back in the 5th position. And 6th position is Ronnie Potts, 30 back.
In position number 7 right now, we've got Mike King. Jose Gonzalez currently shown in 8th with 1 win on the year. John Abbott's in 9th. Mark Bratcher in 10th. And then our final 2 currently in the chase. Guy Snyder is 43 behind the leader, and Rich Jett is 12th, 50 points behind Chad Cole.
And definitely, let's take a quick look at the track tonight. Again, we are at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Short track, so to speak, just over a mile in length at 1.058 miles long, an asphalt and granite surface. The turns, variable banking for 2 to 7 degrees. So it's pretty much flat around this thing with 1 degree of banking in the straightaway. We're located in Loudon, New Hampshire, a capacity crowd of 105,491 people on hand. The track is owned and operated by Speedway Motorsports Incorporated and opened on June 5th of 1990, obviously hosting with the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Looking into the night's race right now, fastest car in qualifying right now, Dwayne Vincent looking to bounce back from last week's race. As qualifying starts to cycle through, we have a little bit of time before we get to go racing here tonight. Harrison, what are you expecting from this track? Maybe, obviously, a short track, maybe possibly some tempers. You got to keep your composure. Again, it's going to be 120 laps, so it's going to be a long night for some of these guys if their car's not handling the way they want it to.
Yeah, this is a track that's very line sensitive, and it's very easy to overdrive these corners where you just get really tight. I watched a little bit of the NASCAR iRacing Series race here last night, and I saw a lot of people, when they're trying to get a pass on the low groove, simply slide up the track and run the guys that are higher, way higher on the track. So this is a track where most of the grip is in the middle of the corner. It's basically a center groove, and these guys will kind of go up the racetrack in the center of the corner and diamond the corner and cut low on exit to get that good run off. These drivers in RSR were shifting in Thursday night for the nationwide race, the Asphalt Assault Series, but I don't believe we're going to see any shifting here. And Dwayne Vincent was actually the winner here just a couple of months ago at New Hampshire, and so certainly he wants to sweep the season at Loudon and try to regain that points lead.
And this is our second time actually coming to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway this season. We were there earlier, again 120 laps earlier last race. It was Dwayne Vincent. He took home the win I mean, that's what he needs to do tonight. He's fastest right now in qualifying. So his night's looking to go the way he wants it to. CJ Lavere actually took home the second spot. Joey Gattina third. Jose Gonzalez fourth. And Adam Roberts fifth. So just another thing to note there, Chad Cole finished 29th. 14 laps down. So those are just some statistics, so to speak, to keep an eye on going into tonight. Again, if we're going to look at the points again, there's still 9 races to go in the chase, including this one. And if you want to win this chase, you're going to have to be pretty much perfect with the drivers that are in this top 12. But every driver could possibly afford an off night. Now, with 9 races to go, you're looking at the last guy in the points right now. Rich Jet 50 points back. Harrison, I want to get your take. How far do you think you have to be out of the points as the races go on to pretty much count yourself out of it? Because a lot of the crazy things can happen. We have Talladega just down the road, so the chase can be pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's hard to count anyone out right now, but certainly if you're looking at a 50-point deficit, it is extremely hard to come back. But needless to say, as you said, Talladega is a big wild card or a joker card, so to speak. Anything can happen in these final 9 races. It's hard to count anybody out right now, but especially as we get a few more races under our belt, the guys who are 50 points back, they're going to have to rely on a lot of cars in front of them having trouble, because certainly there's going to be a bunch of cars. You're not going to have everyone in front of you have a couple of bad races in a row. There's going to be somebody who gets on a good streak. So I do think these drivers will get away with one bad race like Dwayne Vincent had, and Dwayne obviously had those bonus points coming in, and so he's only 14 back, and he can make that up simply tonight if Chad Cole gets stuck somewhere around 15th or worse. So I would say pretty much everyone is in right now, but it's a little scary once you get about 40, 50 back.
And definitely, and with this track being so tight, you mentioned it's very line sensitive. You get knocked up out of the groove, you can lose a handful of spots. If there's a wreck, there's a concrete wall right on your left hand side down that front stretch. There's really not a lot of places to go, and it could be quite treacherous, so to speak, going around this racetrack. Again, this is the 2013 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, and that means that the winner at the end of the next 9 races, or 36 races in the season total, is going to walk away with the VRC Mark II Virtual Racing Seat, and it is a virtual racing cockpit designed by championship race car driver Bob Earl. Who better than a real race car driver to design a simulation racing cockpit? After all, he knows what it means to be comfortable behind the wheel. The design features a fully adjustable seat and frame. Additional monitor stand and shifter mounts are sold separately. Proud sponsor of the 2013 RSR Full Throttle Cup Series, a high quality and affordable virtual racing cockpit priced at just $349 plus shipping. See it today at www.bobearlracing.com. That's what everybody is racing for tonight. Also, a side note, for tonight's race, the thoughts of many drivers, members of ETV, and other iRacers from around the world mourn the loss of Morgan Schooley, who lost his battle with cancer just yesterday. ETV had done several beneficiary races to support him and his family on medical expenses, and we keep his family in our thoughts tonight. The Rewind BS and Back Talk radio show will begin 30 minutes early tomorrow night to talk about his battle in the iRacing community was such a huge part of, so just another thing to keep in mind tonight. But we're going to get these things kicked off. We're going to now send it down trackside for the national anthem performed by the Cactus Cuties.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof
And thank you to the virtual Thunderbirds for the flyover. Now we're going to go down trackside for the most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Sitting on the pole for tonight's race, it is going to be the number 13, Dwayne Vincent. Outside row 1, the 8 of Chad Cole.
In row number 2, we've got Ben Burnett with good qualifying effort to the inside of Alan Lewis, possibly making his debut in the Full Throttle Cup Series this evening.
DJ LaVere inside row 3 in the 5th starting position. Starting 6th, the number 2 of Ronnie Potts.
In row number 4, we've got Brett McBride in the number 15 alongside the 91 of Steve Gottschalk.
Inside row 5, the 9th starting position, the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. Outside him, starting 10th, the 16 of Steve Ritter.
Starting in 11th will be the 66 of Brian Harvey, alongside him the 45 Caleb Dressback.
Starting in the lucky number 13th position, the 58 Justin Wilson. Starting 14th, the number 5 of Bill Tomer.
Guy Snyder will be starting 15th this evening alongside John Abbott.
Starting 17th, the Navy Nuke 47 Eric Arnold, coming off a second place finish last week. Starting 18th, the 29 of Brandon Mercer.
Starting 19th will be Britt Van Meter, and from 20th, Nick Silver.
Starting 21st, it's going to be the 38 of Mark Bratcher, 22nd, the 78 of Keith Brooks Jr.
Starting 23rd will be Rich Jett, alongside of him, Jonathan Cadell.
25th, it's going to be the 43 of Doug Roth, 26th, the 04 of Mike King.
And drivers not electing to take a qualifying time: Jimmy North, Dave Lanza, Doug Fleming, Doug Wyatt, Ed Williams Jr., and shotgun on the field, John Wilco.
Definitely 32 cars, a medium-sized field, but on a short track that's not a lot of room. And like every week, Dwayne Vincent, Chad Cole, 1, 2 in points. They're going to be side by side on each other's door here at the start. And let's see how this thing gets figured out. The pace car rolling through turns 3 and 4. The field doubled up behind them. The capacity crowd on their feet, and they are ready to go racing. The Ford First Racing Mustang pace car now on the front straightaway, goes down the pit road. The field in the hands of Dwayne Vincent. There he goes, and the green flag flies. And race number 2 of the chase is green at New Hampshire.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys kind of like the outside line on these restarts, but when you're the leader, certainly the inside line's not bad, because you can get to that outside before turn number 1. Right now, the battle is on for second position. Chad Cole to the outside of Ben Burnett, and he clears Ben Burnett, but Ben's still looking low on Chad Cole. Ben with that good qualifying run right now under pressure from the 51 of Alan Lewis.
Yeah, Burnett tried to make that work, and he lost time again. Almost got overtaken by the 51. Looks like Lewis cut him a break there, because Lewis could have easily possibly made an effort to get by there on the inside. We're side by side back in the 11th position. It's the 66 of Brian Harvey on the inside of the 45 car of Cale Dresbach. Dresbach looking to complete that pass on Harvey on the top side. You mentioned possibly the preferred line into 3. Still side by side, the 66 searching for grip. They're also side by side behind these guys that are pretty even off of turn 4, and it looks like it's going to be the 45 with the advantage by the stripe.
Yeah, and certainly if you're going to get the low line to work, the earlier in the run, the better, as these cars lose a lot of that lateral grip. Exiting the corner becomes much tighter, as we have a caution of 10 cars around in the back of the pack.
John Abbott up against the fence in turn number 2, which is going to bring out our first caution of the night. Here early on lap number 3, going to take a look back to see what the incident was, and it looks like he may have had some help. We're going to take a look. It's the 10 of John Abbott, not very happy with the incident, upset with Mark Bratcher on the radio. We're going to take a look at the replay. Going into turn 1, 38 on the inside, kind of pushed up a little bit, driving in there, and the 10 of John Abbott, kind of an innocent bystander, and that got turned around, back the rear end of that into the wall. Luckily, he didn't get hit by any other race cars going by, but that is going to damage the back end of that 10 car of John Abbott. Going to put a damper on his night. You never want to get damage early, because it's going to make your race really long as the night goes on. But tough break. That's going to bring out our first caution.
Yeah, a lot of communication between Mark Bratcher in the 38 and John Abbott in the 10. As I was saying earlier, it's very easy to overdrive these corner entries, and when you're passing someone low or looking to pass someone low, you have to back up your corner entry even more. and lift earlier, and what happened there was Bratcher just didn't have the grip entering the corner, possibly got in a little bit too hot or was a little off on his braking or wheel input, and as he went up the track, it was John Abbott who was running more than high enough. Mistakes happen. That was a mistake on behalf of the 38 car right there. John Abbott not pleased at all, so that brings out the first caution, but these guys did a pretty good job of getting single file and looking patient for the most part, which bodes well for this race. I think we're going to see a decent bit of green flag racing. Although there are 32 cars in the field, a lot of times you come to a track like this, it could either be great or terrible, because sometimes you come to a difficult racetrack and people are caught off guard because people start racing the track more than each other, and that's where you get green flag runs.
And 22nd on back, so starting with the 25 of Silver, all those cars on back on the lead lap came down pit road to make adjustments, take on 4 tires. The one car that is still sitting down there is the 10 of John Abbott, who is going to pull out of his stall as the field starts to approach him off turn number 4, so he's going to be working on fixing that damage as the night goes on. But the main discussion, and there was a lot of the discussion between the 10 and the 38 cars of Bratcher and Abbott, John Abbott just letting them know that maybe they were racing a little bit too hard early on in the race, still 115 or 16 laps to go at this point. But again, it didn't look like anything intentional there, just somebody trying to drive it in there on the corner, because at a track like this, you mentioned you're going to start battling the track. It's really hard, and you really need track position, and the best spots to get that track position is going to be on those restarts, so these guys try to make it work, and just an unfortunate incident at that point. Take a look. I do believe the lights are off on the pace car, so we are going to get the green flag this time by when we come to take lap 7. Starting out front again, it's still going to be the 13 of Dwayne Vincent. Chad Cole sitting outside of row number 1 at this point. So the top 6, 7, actually the top 8 are going to be the same as when we started the race. Working through turns 3 and 4, that Ford First Racing Mustang pace car on pit road. Dwayne Vincent takes off a lot earlier this time, using that restart strategy to his advantage, and he's taking off rather, and we were side by side for third with Alan Lewis.
Oh no, Ben Burnett in the 37 gets into the 8 of Chad Cole, but Cole able to save it. I thought we were going to see a repeat of what just happened to John Abbott, but Chad able to save it. I believe Ben Burnett just apologizing real quick to the 8 car. He didn't mean to get into him there, but no harm done. The 8 car retains second position as Alan Lewis, who tried to make something happen on that start, couldn't quite get above 37, backed out. I think he thought that they were about to wreck as well, as it happened just in front of him. But Dwayne Vincent with a good start. But I tell you what, Chad Cole has came here prepared. And he's actually looking to put a little pressure on Dwayne. He's starting to catch him little by little on the short run here. It'll be interesting to see as these cars tighten up, just who will be the guy to beat on the long run.
And definitely, and when you're looking at the chase points, again, you have to be fairly decent. Maybe you can afford one mulligan, so to speak, of these 10 races. Chad Cole got real close to using up one there, but a great piece of driving to hang on to it, and he's actually significantly closed down the gap on Dwayne Vincent since that point in time. Single file all the way back until about the 11th spot. That just got sorted out as the 45 of Dresbach pulls in behind the 66 of Brian Harvey. The only other side-by-side battle is the 33 of David Lanza, right now 17th position. He's working on the 11 of Britt Van Meter off 4.
Yeah, the 33 below the 11. Actually, we have a problem on the front stretch.
Oh.
The 5 car squeezed into the wall. I believe they kept it straight where we don't have... Oh, we're going to have a caution now. Caution flag is out.
They're piling it up in turn 1. I saw that in front of these guys. Second caution of the night. Several cars involved. And more tough breaks for these drivers. They piled them in there, and that started a long time before these cars that we were watching, and it was actually the 11, I believe, that brought out the caution, but this started real early. Let's take a look at the 66 of Brian Harvey on lap 9, coming to take lap 10, trying to do a crossover possibly on the 45 of Dresbach, or Dresbach kind of cut him off, you could say, and the 66 Harvey trying to go to the inside, got loose. Came back up into the racing groove, pinned to number 5 of Bill Tomer. You mentioned possibly making his first start here in the Full Throttle Cup Series. The 5 and the 66 were in the wall. Several cars were able to get around it. However, that battle right there with the 11, the 25, the 36, they were all battling hard. They actually tried to really split that wreck 4 wide, and the 11, unfortunately, a Britt Van Meter going head-on into the outside retaining wall, along with the 25 car So tough break for those guys, but it is our second caution of the night to this point.
Yeah, some of those guys just not seeing the wreck in time came in a little bit hot. But as the 45 of Cale Dresbach came up in front of Brian Harvey, exiting 4, there's something we call bumper hooked. He literally got bumper hooked, the 66, when the 45 came up in front of him. He stayed on the throttle, and as he made a little bit of contact, it actually sent his car down the track a little bit. And I think it was savable, but a lot of times what you want to do is you don't want to lift. Obviously, he was being pressured by that number 5, the subway car of Bill Tomer. And so he didn't want to lift and possibly get run over by having to lift, and he was just spinning the tires a little bit too much. And unfortunately, a bunch of cars way behind there get involved, just not quite able to see the wreck in front of them. One of those being Nick Silver, heavily damaged. The number 11 of Britt Van Meter, who we've seen do a good job of keeping his nose clean in his starts here, and also Rich Jet, a lot of damage. And the number 66 will get the end of longest line penalty for causing the caution.
And bumper grab, something you maybe normally see at restrictor plate racetracks. Well, before we go back green, we're going to do a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Travis, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4 in the checkered flag. He wins his first NASCAR iRacing.
Back under green flag at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Battle picking up front is the 37 of Ben Burnett, nearly, or if not, making contact rather with the 8 of Chad Cole off 4. Going to drop a couple of spots. Again, welcome back to ETV Live's live coverage of the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series race 2 of the chase from New Hampshire. Right now, again, back under the green flag, lap 15. Pretty heated restart there, Harrison.
Yeah, that was a close call coming out of turn 4 one lap ago. Ben Burnett almost big problems there for the 8 cars. They made contact exiting turn number 4. Chad Cole thanking his lucky stars right now that wasn't worse than it was. Don't believe he sustained any damage at all from that. But Ben Burnett losing 2 spots, or losing 1 spot as well as the spot that he was trying to gain, fades into the 4th position as the number 51 of Alan Lewis putting the pressure on Chad Cole. Now Chad Cole's racing for this championship as the points leader. Alan Lewis is racing for wins. This might be his first ever Full Throttle Cup Series start. I'm not used to seeing him here. I know he frequents the RSR Outlaw Truck Series, but I believe this is his first stint in the Full Throttle Cup Series.
And he has a fast car. He got to the bumper of Chad Cole through 1 and 2, trying to make something work. Not quite. It looked like Chad Cole was starting to run down Dwayne Vincent on that last green flag run, I guess you could call it, after having some issues on the restart again with the 37 of Ben Burnett. Doesn't really look like he's chasing him down quite yet, actually. Vincent gained 1,000th of a second that last time by the stripe, but you'd see the 51 there, Alan Lewis, trying to make something work. He keeps taking a look. I wouldn't be surprised if that 51 continues to move up throughout the field as this race progresses. We're single file pretty deep into the field until we get to around, I want to say it is the 11th position. The 91 of Steve Gottschalk just got overtaken by the 27 of Guy Snyder IV. So other than that, single file and starting to try to get into a groove here after 2 quick cautions.
Yeah, that number 27 of Guy Snyder, who we just saw complete the pass to take the 11th position, we're noticing a trend with him. I may be wrong on this, but he seems to be a guy who he doesn't qualify quite where he can race. I think we see him a lot qualify in the teens, maybe even 20th, and come through the field. Now, he qualified this race in 15th. We had those 2 quick yellows, but he's made his way up to 11th, and I tell you, it is difficult to pass at this track. It's not very easy. So Guy Snyder just seems to be one of those drivers where maybe like a Matt Kenseth of the old. It doesn't really go for this year, but Matt Kenseth used to be known as the guy who would kind of struggle in qualifying and then just make his way through the field. As we have a crash, the 33 car I hear around.
Yeah, David lands in a 33 is going to go around on the back straightaway. That's going to bring out another caution. And we're going to take a look at the replay, try to get that up on the E1. It looks like it was a solo spin off turn 2 on lap 20. He was in there behind the 10 of John Abbott. Gotten there a little bit hot off the corner, and I'm looking, and you can see him sawing at that wheel, try to get it woed down, and then he pointed it to the inside wall, overcorrected, split it out, managed to keep it off the wall, though, and keep it off everybody else. But that is going to bring out the caution, so we're going to be pacing again here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, thankfully only a 1-car wreck, and Dave Lanza happy that he kept it off of the wall. A lot of times what happens here is, even though this is flat in the corners, as it flattens out on the straightaway, that wall just comes up so quickly and you have the wheel turned hard, and the car just sort of gets light on corner exit. And so as the 33 was on the gas, he just simply, it started to dart around on him a little bit as he was trying to get a run on the number 10 of John Abbott, who was in front of him at the time. Very easy to lose control right there, but no damage sustained, and Dave will be able to drive it around. Loses some track position, will get 4 tires after that spin, but could have been worse.
All the leaders down on pit road, led by Dwayne Vincent in the 13, putting the right side up, and now they're all going to put the left side up, it looks like. So 4 tires for the front runners. Dwayne Vincent may have not led that out of pit road, possibly. Being the 27 of Guy Snyder might have won that battle, not too sure. Looking, Snyder only took 2 tires, so some guys that were about mid-pack took the 2-tire strategy rather to try to get themselves some track position, but it looks like Vincent's gonna pull out in front and hang on for that lead position as of now. But that was a close battle off of pit road, and if you ignore everybody else, one guy that didn't even come down pit road at all, the 26, Jose Gonzalez, is now going to be your leader. He could possibly just be staying out to get a bonus point to lead a lap, or he's really going to try to take a swing at things, say we haven't really done a lot of laps on these tires, and take a big swing at track position. He qualified 9th, so he hasn't really been running far back in the field, but right now he's your leader.
Yeah, this is a track where track position really is everything. This might be the hardest track on the schedule to pass. I'm not saying that it's impossible to pass, but you can't put a price on track position. As we saw Guy Snyder take right sides only, and I think we will see that strategy come into play very often tonight. Right now, 20 laps into this race with 100 to go. Steve Ritter currently shown in second. He missed his pit stall first time by, so he might be coming down pit road this time by.
Yeah, you see the replay right there. He came down pit road with everybody else to get those tires, and he kind of made a little bit of move to the left, and he realized it was a little bit too late, so he's actually not going to come back down pit road. He's going to stay out there, so the top 2 cars, being the 26 of Gonzalez and the 16 of Ritter, are on old tires, and they're going to be in front of Dwayne Vincent, who actually has 4, and then Guy Snyder in 4th position with 2. So right now, the car that's best off at the moment would be Dwayne Vincent, but it's going to be interesting to see how the 16 and the 26 hold up without these tires. Now, they were running about mid-pack, so they may have pitted earlier when the leaders did not. So this is really going to be a telltale sign for some of these drivers, communicating with their crew chiefs and their spotters, trying to see how this works out for these guys so they can put that in their playbook for later on in the race.
Yeah, and this is one of those tracks where when you make a mistake like Steve Ritter made where he missed his stall, this is a track where it's like, you know what, there's no need giving up all that track position, I'll stay out, we'll try to make it work. Odds are he's not going to lose too many positions on tires. He should be able to retain a decent spot.
And definitely working through turns 3 and 4. Again, the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car off turn 4 is going to dive down the pit road. There he goes, and the 26 Gonzalez wastes no time. Green flag back out. Now the 13, Dwayne Vincent to the inside, and the 27, Guy Snyder makes a bold move to the inside of the 16. Steve Ritter dropping back on the top side. Now the 13 of Vincent with a huge run is going to battle for the lead, and he's going to get a huge run off too. Dwayne Vincent to the point, and a big pile of cars behind them. And now we're actually going to have a caution on the racetrack right now, an incident on that restart. That was pretty close up front, but I don't believe that was the cause of the caution. There was nothing happening up front, so we're going to try to figure out what happened.
Yeah, I believe the caution centered around the 82 of Doug Fleming. He was one of the damaged cars at the back, I believe, and he got through turns 1 and 2 and lost control of his car in the center of 1 and 2, and a couple of cars behind him just didn't really have anywhere to go. Nick Silver was able to avoid it, but Mike King, as well as Rich Jett, heavy contact. So it was an incident surrounding a lot of the cars that were involved in earlier incidents that are harder to control right now.
Yeah, that was a strange incident. I mean, you the replay is coming up now right there on the E1. You see he was. I mean, these guys weren't really up with the pack, and they were single file just working, and the 82 just lost it and collected 2 other race cars. And I mean, what we were seeing up front, we were seeing guys darting all over the place. That's a rather uncommon incident in the back there. There is no lucky dog. An update on the drivers that are having some issues to this point in the night. We have 27 cars now actually on the lead lap. Cars 1 lap down, being the 82 of Fleming, 36 of Jett, the 5 of Tomer, and then 2 cars that are 14 laps down, being the 11 of Britt Van Meter and the 66 of Brian Harvey. Those 2 cars have actually gone to the garage and called it a night. But in that restart, we saw the 2 tires, or rather no tires, of Gonzalez really didn't work out because Dwayne Vincent in 2 corners worked his way up to the lead.
And that's where you have to take advantage of those 4 tires. Exactly what Dwayne Vincent did on that restart. All that grip is going to be the biggest advantage that you're going to have is right after a restart. The grip falls off pretty quickly with these cars, but we saw Guy Snyder have a lot of speed in his car on that restart too, as he followed Dwayne Vincent pretty much through there, made an aggressive move to get in front of the number 8 of Chad Cole. And the caution flag came out before Guy was able to clear Jose Gonzalez, who retained 2nd position. But what I was getting to before that restart is 2 tires here is a good call to make for the most part. These drivers are usually going to complain about being tight in the center here. And now they don't have the greatest drive off with a lot of power, and they might lose some of that drive off with only right side tires depending on how long they went on their lefts. But this is a track where if you could get it to turn into the center, hey, you could baby the throttle on exit, and track position could pay off. So I like Guy Snyder's call here. He gained about 9 or 10 positions on pit road, and I think we'll be able to see him keep himself in the top 5.
Definitely another thing to keep an eye on throughout the night, indeed. Taking a look again still through the field under caution. Going to give us a quick chance to mention iLeagueRace.com, the one-stop shop for iRacing leagues. Looking for total website and points management, custom scoring protocols, complete scheduling and management of series and events, even a blog set up to recap your race. iLeague Race also provides drivers and team signups with integration of APIs such as scoring tickers and points updates. If you have an iRacing league, you need iLeagueRace.com, so check that out today. www.iLeagueRace.com.
And one thing I want to point out real quick, Rich Jett is a chase driver here, and he's had a struggle to start this race. Gotten involved in incidents that were not his doing whatsoever, just wrong place, wrong time. Rich Jett, one of the drivers who started towards the rear of the field. He qualified 23rd, and a lot of times when stuff happens here, especially on corner entry, it's hard to slow these cars down because you're already braking at the limit of the tires as you enter these corners. So Rich Jett was 4th or 5th in points entering the chase. Unfortunately, after Chicagoland, sits 12th, and this is not going to help him at all as we work through 3 and 4 and head towards the restart.
Let's see how Dwayne Vincent does it on the green flag. He waited a little bit, and ever since then, these guys have been going right on the money. There you go, Dwayne Vincent waiting a little bit. There he takes off, using that advantage as the restarter to to his advantage perfectly. He's out front now. The 26 Gonzalez trying to hold off. Look at the 27 of Snyder throwing it in there on the apron, slides all the way up the track, trying to hang on, has pressure from the 51 of Alan Lewis, side by side with the 26 off of turn number 2. 27 Snyder making a huge move. They're still side by side into 3.
Yeah, Guy Snyder in that 27 is not afraid to make moves, and he has been aggressive as he slides up, exiting turn number 4. 43 car, and we have a caution on the racetrack.
Doug Roth up into the outside wall off turn number 4. Another caution is going to come out. Taking a look, we're going to try to get the replay up here soon. It is the 43 Roth, lap 30, going into turn 3. Driving it in, the 29 car. Brennan Mercer coming down the racetrack a little bit, and when he made contact with the 43, the 58 car, who was battling for a position down there, being Justin Wilson, was right there, and the 43 got turned around real quick. He went up into the outside wall. The 10, John Abbott, possibly making some additional contact with the 38 car, Mark Bratcher, as they checked up. But this is going to bring out about our 4th or 5th caution so far. And this race, only 31 laps in of 120 laps, is starting to look like a survival of the fittest.
Yeah, unfortunately, these races can turn into this when at these shorter tracks where people are running each other very tight. When you don't get that green run to spread out, cautions do breed cautions. Tough break for Doug Roth there. The 29 of Brennan Mercer was a little bit faster than the cars in front of him in the center of the corner, and Doug Roth was below him when Mercer started to look underneath the 15 of Rhett McBride. So Mercer coming down into the 43, and Justin Wilson was right behind the 43 and helped him around after he was sent. And I believe while we are under caution, we're going to take a quick break and return from commercial in time for some more green flag racing here, hopefully, at the New Hampshire National Speedway.
Join 5,000 plus other listeners where you can hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETV, live sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com.
And welcome back to Loudon, New Hampshire, and the New Hampshire Motor Speedway Race 2 and race number 28 on the season. It's the 2013 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series presented by Bob Earl Racing. Again, my name is Evan Pasoko. Joining me up in the booth tonight, Harrison Weidlitz. Harrison back under the yellow flag. Still, we're looking to go back green. A pretty caution-filled night so far, as we are about a half hour through this race, currently working lap 34 of 120 laps. A lot of these drivers that set their cars up may be looking for a long run, so it's going to be interesting to see how this race progresses from this point.
Yeah, I do think we'll see more green flag racing as we get deeper in the race, hopefully sooner than later. Certainly, we have 26 on the lead lap right now, just a couple of cars out of the race. I believe Doug Fleming, Britt Van Meter, and Brian Harvey took their cars behind the wall. And then we have 2 cars a lap down that are severely damaged from earlier wrecks. As we come through 3 and 4 right now, Dwayne Vincent looking to do what he's done all night long, which is get great restarts, but he has Guy Snyder alongside of him who's been aggressive.
Pace car down the pit road. There he goes. He waited last time. He's on the gun this time. The green flag back out. Dwayne Vincent off and running. The 27 of Snyder looks like he'll be able to hang on to second. We're side by side for third now as the 27, or rather the 26 of Gonzalez on the inside nearly got into the left rear of the 51 of G. Allen Lewis, and they're going to single file off 2.
Yeah, Alan Lewis in that 51 wanted to take advantage of those newer tires and clear Jose Gonzalez in turn one, which he did. Jose, though, did a good job driving right back to Alan as Chad Cole, right behind Jose Gonzalez, hasn't gotten through traffic the way Dwayne Vincent and Guy Snyder have. But Alan Lewis also one of those drivers who pitted on the previous, or 2 cautions ago, with 4 tires, just like our leader Dwayne Vincent and Guy Snyder, who took 2 on that caution. So, and Justin Wilson may have a problem on the track. Justin Wilson, the number 58, is around.
Another wreck off of turn number 2. Justin Wilson, a chase contender, not happy on the radio. Another caution's going to come out here. This incident off of turn 2, lap 36, and he got turned. A little bit of a tap there. The 43 of Doug Roth, I do believe, as the replay is coming up right now on the E1. Yeah, Doug Roth in the 43. It looks like the 58 may have come down a little bit. That looks like a case of 2 drivers going for 1 position. The 58 really locked it up, tried to save it. And then the 25 car didn't quite see the wreck in front of him, or didn't get the memo, didn't get on the brakes in time. And the 25 got into Doug Roth, which really prevented, I think the 58 might have saved that. If the additional contact rather wasn't made, but the 43 of Doug Roth got punted, which assisted Wilson the rest of the way around, and Doug Roth actually went back into the outside wall. So turn 2 is going to continue to be Calamity Corner at this point in the race.
Yeah, Justin Wilson might have a little bit of damage through his left rear end housing. Might have done a number on the tracking of his car. Not sure. If he got any severe damage, that's where it would have come from. But that wreck is a situation where John Wilco in the 62 is running way high to give these guys room, and as Wilson was underneath him, you diamond these corners a little bit, and Wilson wasn't expecting the 43 to look below him. Now that would have been 3 wide exiting turn number 2, which you don't really want to do here at New Hampshire, and so Justin Wilson caught off guard that Doug Roth would look low in that scenario right there, which is why Wilson not thrilled with 43's move right there. But certainly the 58 comes down a little bit as he's diving in the corner. It's just sort of unexpected if you're Justin Wilson. So Doug Roth involved in another one. He might be called for the blame of that one. Certainly the first one he was a victim. So another caution, another quick caution. Doug Roth, I believe, has actually taken it behind the wall. His car was severely damaged. And the cars on pit road are mostly cars that were running towards the rear of the field.
Well, I'll tell you, Doug Roth not in the garage yet. He's behind one wall of the pit road wall, but he doesn't really have a lot left of his race car. He's exiting pit road now. Gonna try to get it fixed, but there's no rear end on that thing, and it's looking a little bit sideways. So Doug Roth's night possibly done, and he's gonna be trying to hang on a good note, maybe for a top 25 or top 20, because that race car is torn up. John Abbott is gonna be your lucky dog on this caution. He's going to get waved around. The cause of the caution is deemed actually to the 43. So that's one of those calls that is up to the officials, and that could be a close call. Remember, you don't want to get 2 where you're going to be barked for the remainder of the race. So again, under our 6th caution or so, I do believe at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. This is going to give us another time to thank another one of our partners here on ETV Live, and that is Inside Sim Racing. Inside Sim Racing sponsors the Thursday night Real Sim Racing series. Inside Sim Racing, your first and best choice for all the news and reviews in online motorsports. Join Darren Ganji and Sean Cole for the latest and greatest in product reviews, simulation auto racing games for PCs, and the Xbox crowd. From steering wheels to full-size racing rigs, updates on popular racing games, and a whole lot more. It is the yellow pages of online auto racing. Inside Sim Racing has it all. Visit them at www.isrtv.com. Again, you can see the Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series Thursday nights here on ETV Live that is brought to you by Inside Sim Racing.
Yeah, Inside Sim Racing, one of the pillars of the sim racing community, honestly, do a great quality show that you could watch on YouTube, usually about a half hour long, if not longer, sometimes give or take a few minutes, but they do a good job. Sean Cole and Darren Ganji being 2 very, very recognizable people in the sim racing broadcasting community. As they work down the backstretch here, we have doubled up and we are heading to the restart. We will take the green on lap 41, marking 80 laps to go in this race. And 80 laps in a green flag run is pretty... It goes by fast here, so these guys, they might be feeling a little bit impatient, but certainly a lot of yellow flags so far, and hoping to see some green as the pace car dips down. Dwayne Vincent waits a little bit. Guy Snyder tries to time it, Dwayne catches him off guard, but Guy recovers pretty nicely. Heading into turn number 1, Guy to the outside of Dwayne Vincent for the lead, but does a bobble, goes up the track. That opens the door for the 51 of Alan Lewis.
Alan Lewis can't get it done in 2 again. That's the tricks that the leader gets to pay. Again, Dwayne Vincent can wait her. He'll go right on the gun. Snyder tried to guess it. He guessed wrong, but you mentioned a good recovery. Now he's way up the racetrack. Something wrong with that car. Had a bad entry there. That's going to allow the 51 to buy him. The 8, Chad Cole, taking a look on the inside. Not quite. Now we're side by side behind these guys. And another caution is out quick. One car on the inside wall down the front straightaway. It's the 4 of CJ LeVere. And that's going to bring out their 7th caution of the night. He gets turned by the 45 car off of turn 4. So Cale Dresbach turning CJ LeVere around. They're both into the inside wall. And we're under caution again.
As we look at this accident, it took place out of turn number 4. CJ LeVere simply exited the corner a little bit further off the wall than Cale Dresbach anticipated. Now, you run pretty high on this racetrack, obviously in the straightaway, but the car below, the car that he's racing, wants to run as high as he can to get the best arc for the next corner. And Dresbach just misjudging the front stretch there as he expected CJ LeVere in the number 4 to be higher. So the 45 coming up the track and turning the 4. And I believe John Wilco entering this wreck. They start checking up in the back of the pack, and John Wilco gets run into by hippie Douglas Wyatt, actually driving a really nice paint scheme this week, the Geek Squad, number 12 Fusion. Douglas Wyatt and Wilco tangling a little bit entering that wreck, and it sends Wilco to the outside wall. So tough break for him. He was keeping his car clean, sustaining a good bit of damage there.
Again, under our 7th caution, I do believe, of the night, the lucky dog coming around. It's going to be John Abbott again. So John Abbott starting to tick off those missing laps, so to speak, at the moment. Cause of the caution was officially deemed to the 45 car of Dresbach. I do believe that is, yes, Cale Dresbach in a 45. So several cars, again, another tough incident, and that could have been big also. They went down to that inside wall. Luckily, they all didn't pile into it. Taking a look, some cars from the top runners down pit road, including the 4 of LeVere, who was in that incident. The 16 of Steve Ritter is going to come down to 91. Also down pit road along with the 58. So some scattered cars around the 15th position are going to come down pit road to get anything adjusted that they need to, and possibly some 2 tires for some of them, but nothing really major at this point. Still, Dwayne Vincent out front. He's doing what he needs to do after having a tough week last week. Went into the race with the points lead, left a couple of points back. Chad Cole sitting in 4th, though. So if Chad Cole stays there, it's going to take Dwayne Vincent a long time to catch him. So both drivers doing what they need to do to this point in this race. And how about the 27 of Guy Snyder at the 4th? Driving like a madman on these restarts, throwing it in there, making it stick for the most part, and really working his way up. Started the race in the 15th position, currently sitting 3rd. Look out for that 27 because he has a determination to get to the front.
Yeah, and Guy Snyder is also one of these guys in the chase, but after a rough Chicagoland race, he finds himself 43 behind the leader. So he could be a spoiler here. He wants to make up as many points as he can, and the best way you can do that is leading laps and winning races. And Guy's certainly putting the pressure on for these leaders right now, and he's been very aggressive, as you said, on these restarts. And Alan Lewis in the 51 will be restarting in the 2nd position. He's someone who has been playing it pretty smart. He hasn't done any foolish moves. He's backed out of situations that, were very close to resulting in wrecks, and he's avoided a couple of problems. And as they come around here, I believe the lights on the pace car will go out this time by, which it does. So they get ready for this restart, which will be on lap 47. We're creeping up on the halfway point. A lot of cars on pit road this time, many of which repairing damage as they will get on the gas and catch up to the group of cars that are lined up for this restart. But Dwayne Vincent doing everything that he has to do. He wants to lead the most laps and he wants to win this race. And so far, he's creeping up on the most laps led.
Again, this racetrack, the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire, dubbed the Magic Mile. Some drivers not feeling the magic, so to speak, tonight. A rough start for some of these drivers for this race, and those drivers up front that have fast cars are probably saying, let's get going, let's get some green flag laps, because they can probably drive away with it in their opinion, because they know they have a fast car. Working off turn 4, looking to come back to take the green flag. The Ford First Racing Mustang pace car comes off 4 and goes down the pit road rather. Dwayne Vincent waits again, causes a big checkup. One car gets spun, a big pile up on the front straightaway, and that's what happens when playing games on the restart goes wrong. Caution flag back out. That happened there with the 38 of Mark Bratcher got turned to the inside. A lot of drivers upset on the radio. Taking a look, that happened again. The 27 car, I told you guys, Snyder very aggressive, trying to get anything. Tried to anticipate Dwayne Vincent's start, had to slam on the brakes, that caused a checkup, and the 38 got punted around by the 47 of Eric Arnold. And that's a lot of heated drivers at this point in the race. Another caution quickly. That collected a 38 was in that. Several other drivers were involved trying to avoid that, so another tough break. Caution number 8.
Yeah, a lot of chaos right there. And some of the drivers in the mid-pack in this situation might blame the leader for possibly slowing down, but we're lucky enough that we have Dwayne Vincent's telemetry, and I could tell you for a fact, Dwayne did not pick up speed or slow down whatsoever, so Dwayne kept it at 52 miles an hour. This is a product of when people around him try to anticipate the start. We noted Guy Snyder has been very aggressive, and Guy, as we look at the replay showing Guy Snyder's onboard, you can note but this is a situation where anticipation creates a problem for the drivers in the middle of the pack, and as we show the replay from the onboard, the dash cam from the number 27 of Guy Snyder, he didn't really do a whole lot long, but he's trying to get a good restart. He's creeping up onto the back bumper of Dwayne Vincent. When Dwayne doesn't go as early as maybe he did before, he has to brake a little bit, and the drivers in the middle of the pack end up, it compounds. It's the domino effect.
Yeah, definitely. I took a look at that telemetry again. I mean, from the eye, it looks like Vincent playing games on the restart, but really it was Snyder trying to anticipate it, and things just kind of got crazy there, and a lot of drivers probably having some minor sheet metal damage, so you never know. Some of them may have slightly messed up their the handling on that car, have some toe issues. So another thing to keep an eye on tonight. Also, David Lanza going to go behind the wall. His night is done at this point. Again, our 7th caution of the night at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. About 11 laps from the halfway point right now. Again, we'll run you through the top 20. Dwayne Vincent in first, G. Allen Lewis second position, third place Guy Snyder the 8 Chad Cole in the 4th position, 5th place Ben Burnett, 6th place Ronnie Potts, 7th Jimmy North, 8th Jonathan Cadell, 9th Jose Gonzalez, and 10th is the 10 of John Abbott.
Right now, showing 11th, the 78 of Keith Brooks Jr., who had some damage earlier in the race, got it fixed up, driving through the field. 12th, Brennan Mercer. 13th, Ed Williams Jr. 14th, Justin Wilson, who was actually involved in that restart wreck. Mark Bratcher is shown in 15th, followed by Eric Arnold in 16th, John Wilco in 17th, CJ LeVere, Cale Dressback, and Bill Tomer rounding out the top 20 right now.
Again, at this point in the race, 24 drivers out of the 32 that started are on the lead lap at this point. Several drivers 1 or 2 laps down, still trying to get their cars fixed, try to get a lucky dog and salvage as many points as possible, especially if they're relatively close in that chase. I mean, we mentioned farthest point back in the chase right now, 50 points back, but with 9 races, 2 to go, 8 after this, anything's really possible. I mean, we saw Chad Cole maybe use a golden horseshoe there after making contact with Burnett earlier on. Chad Cole showing a great piece of driving, hanging on to that race car to keep himself going forward and out of the wall. So we're going to look at the green probably the next time around, as the lights are on the pace car. Everyone's kind of starting to get doubled up. So we'll be looking for the one to go this time by the flag stand.
Yeah, and with a lot of cars involved in that caution, what this is going to do is it might bring us to a green flag run, because as we have a lot of the guys in the back of the pack right now getting a lot of damage repaired, there's a few guys who don't really know what their car is going to feel like at speed. And so they're going to be taking it easy on the start. Meanwhile, most of the cars up front are undamaged. and then you have a few guys who have taken it behind the wall. I saw a few pull off the track, not sure who they were, but a few guys too damaged to continue for now, or just wishing to tow back to the pits. But as lights go out on the pace car, we're going to be going green next time by. A number of cars catching up. Actually, the number 58 of Justin Wilson, one of our wild cards, he had to win Richmond to make the chase, which he did. His car, the 58, is heavily damaged. He is yawed out the wrong way, and it is simply a game of survival at this point for him, as he's actually rubbing against the inside wall, trying to straighten it out. Unsuccessful that time, though, but we are coming to the green next time by.
And definitely everybody trying to get into a rhythm. Cautions breed cautions, and when you can't get a green flag lap going, that could possibly mean more cautions, because when all these cars are bunched up together at a loose track, slick track like New Hampshire, it's going to be a rough race. Working our way off turn 4. Again, the Ford first racing Mustang pace car down the pit road. There goes Dwayne Vincent. See, that time he went right when the pace car went down the pit road. That's the strategy he's playing. It worked out, because he's got a 6-car length lead going down into turn number 1. The battle for second is shaked out. Alan Lewis is holding on now, and the 8 of Chad Cole is going to hold off Snyder.
Chad Cole probably feeling happy to be back in the 3rd position. He's been having some tough racing down there, even though he's only faded about 4th or 5th. He probably restarted somewhere around 6th when the few cars did stay out with Jose in the lead. But back up to 3rd, and Alan Lewis right now, we haven't seen him run 2nd all race, but that 51 of Lewis is now showing his muscle as he's creeping up on the 13 of Dwayne Vincent. Now they are on equal tires, so there is no advantages. We have a caution somewhere on the track, or a car spin. There is the caution. Is the number 84 Jimmy North around?
37 Ben Burnett also involved in the incident down the back straightaway off of turn 2, Calamity Corner. I was just going to say, Jimmy North's been having a good race so far. This actually started in front of him. Ben Burnett, taking a look, it started with the 37 of Ben Burnett. It was the 27 car, the aggressive driving style guy. Snyder threw it in there into turn 1, trying to make it by Burnett. You're looking at the replay right now. Ben Burnett actually got clipped by the 27, went out, did a great job of hanging onto the race car. The only problem is Ronnie Potts was driving around holding his line. 37 got into the 2, and when Jimmy North in the 84 checked up, he got spun by the 26 car. Another chain reaction incident is going to bring out another caution, and another tough break for some of these guys. The 37 Burnett was continued to wreck for a good 3, 4, 5 seconds after that incident, making additional contact with the 2 car. But that is going to bring out our 8th caution early on in this race. Again, still not at the halfway point. A rough race if you have a fast race car up front and you're itching to get going.
Yeah, and Guy Snyder, we've said he's been aggressive. What happened to him right there is exactly what we saw in that first caution. I believe it was the first caution of the race when Mark Thrasher got into turn 1 too hot and made contact with the 10 of John Abbott. Basically the same exact thing here. Now, Guy Snyder did not want to make contact. He went all the way to the apron trying to back it down, but just got in there a little too deep, and he couldn't scrub the speed before getting to the 37. So Snyder, that's something where it's so easy to do. It's so easy to overdrive these corners and slide up the track, especially when you're trying to work underneath someone entering the corner. So that's something that we're going to see a lot tonight. But another caution, and we'll have to see if next time, if the next run will bring us a little bit further. But it's been a rough one so far.
And we're going to go to another quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come back for hopefully some green flag racing here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And we're back live at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The field going to be doubling up, and we're looking for the green flag this time by currently working lap 57 of 120. It is the 2013 RSR Full Throttle Cup Series presented by Bob Earl Racing. Race number 2 for the championship. My name is Evan Pasoko. Again, joining me up here in the booth, Harrison Weidlitz, JD Webb, the engineering for tonight, Laura Lawson, working the cameras, looking for the green flag again, working through turns 3 and 4. Dwayne Vincent, Chad Cole are going to be the front row. Dwayne Vincent went right on the gun last time. Let's see what he does this time. Off of turn number 4, pace car goes down. He waits a little bit. There he goes. Dwayne Vincent's going to take the green flag, open up about a 4-car length lead, and we're looking to go side by side for third as the 10 of John Abbott trying to make something work on the top side of the 31 of Jonathan Cadelli. Can't get it for now. And now the 26, Gonzalez making it 3 wide. They're off 2. They're going to hang on.
Ooh, Alan Lewis in the 51 was put in a box there, and Alan did the wise thing and backed off, and they got through there. But Alan Lewis restarted 6th. He's the first car who pitted on that caution. He took 4 tires along with everyone else who pitted, including Guy Snyder. But the top 5 there all stayed out. So Alan Lewis this time crosses the stripe in 5th. And with that tire advantage, that 51 works underneath the 10 of John Abbott. So he's trying to use those tires to his advantage. And as we've sorted out after that very close call, he can breathe a little bit easier. As we have a car around somewhere near the back of the pack, I believe. Don't see who it is right now. Oh, it's Guy Snyder. That was not the back of the pack at all.
He's driving through the grass right now. No caution yet on the racetrack. He's going to work his way on the apron, come back out on the racetrack after running in the 6th position. Been very aggressive all night long. Just lost it off turn 2. Similar to Eric Arnold's incident, smacked the wall once or twice, went down to the inside, locked up the brakes. Did a hell of a job of keeping that race car out of those tires, but he's going to lose a lot of spots and drop somewhere near the rear end of the lead, or the lead lap rather, after running around top 5, top 6 all day long. But a good piece of driving to hang on for that as we're still green.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to Dave Lanza coming out of turn number 2. Now, Dave spun it to the left. He wanted to avoid that outside wall at all costs. Unfortunately, Guy Snyder, in trying to save the car, got into the outside wall. Did not come down pit road. He was down the access road, staying out of everyone's way, then came back into the track on the front stretch. But Snyder certainly picked up a good bit of damage from that. That is going to affect the handling of his car, hitting the wall like that. When you exit these corners, the car just unbinds itself on exit, so to speak, and very easy to get loose right there. And as he was trying to drive through it, just got into the outside wall. So Snyder was running in the 7th position, I believe, when that happened. They were able to keep it green, no caution, and currently shown in the 19th position, but he is off the pace.
Yeah, definitely tough break for him up front. Dwayne Vincent with a 0.3 of a second lead right now over Chad Cole at this point. Then they have a little bit of a cushion. 0.8 back from Cole is that 51 of G. Allen Lewis, who has a fast race car you mentioned, got put into a sticky situation there off 2 in a box, backed out of it, trying to keep his equipment good for the remainder of this race. And he's looking to try to make that ground back up at this point. Again, we've just passed the halfway point in this race, so working lap 63, actually, Dwayne Vincent is going to come by the stripe to take lap 64 of 120, just about 5 or so minutes away from an hour of racing to this point in this race. A long night at New Hampshire. This is what Dwayne Vincent wanted to see, though, after a lot of cautions for the first half of this race, looking to get a green flag run brewing, and Dwayne Vincent with a fast race car pulling away from Chad Cole is probably liking what he's seeing right now.
Yeah, and Alan Lewis, currently in 3rd position behind those guys. His advantage in tires is not too huge. Those guys in the lead, Dwayne Vincent in the lead and Chad Cole in 2nd, had a lot of caution laps to keep their stuff pretty cool. But Alan Lewis right now trying to use all that he can with those tires, and part of the reason why he might have hit might have had something to do with fuel window. I actually don't know how far these guys can go on gas, but needless to say, I know for a fact the 51 car can make it on fuel, and probably the front 2 can as well. I'm assuming they could go 80 laps here, but I'm not 100% on that. The lap time is 30 seconds around this track, but there is a lot of lifting. So not sure what the pit window is, but Alan Lewis, newest tires in the top 5, starting to creep up on Chad Cole as we have the guys in the top 2 in points running 1-2. Only Dwayne Vincent's got points to make up, and he's trying as he is in the lead right now, working underneath Ben Burnett, who we saw get contact from Guy Snyder, and Ben Burnett sustaining quite a bit of damage. His car just not running the way it should. So Ben Burnett losing a lap right there, and we will have 19 on the lead lap.
And definitely Dwayne Vincent again working on the inside of that lap traffic, trying to get stuff done. One way to get some bonus points is to lead the lap, and then to lead the most laps. Dwayne Vincent currently the car on the racetrack that has led the most laps besides the pace car to this point in the race. Fastest car on the track, however, the 51 of G. Allen Lewis, who is just 1.2 seconds back, is about a car length to 2 or 3 off of the back bumper of Chad Cole. Fastest car on the track running lap times 1 to 2 tenths quicker than those top two consistently. So that 51 definitely has a race car underneath him, and he's looking to storm up front as he has a little bit of trouble getting by the lap traffic, but is going to look to get back to that moving forward that he's been doing and try to pick up second.
Yeah, Alan Lewis has solidified himself the last couple of years as somebody who drives very smart. He knows when to not burn up his stuff, use too much right front tire. I'm not sure if this is one of his favorite tracks or not. I don't know him to be a flat track ace, so to speak, but he is fast wherever he goes, and certainly a factor. Being that he doesn't race in this league too often, he wants to make sure he earns the respect of the top two, wants to run everyone clean. As we look through the field, I actually don't see too many battles going on right now. A lot of single files. These drivers start to get a little bit of room between them, but CJ LeVere in the number 4 car working underneath Mike King in the 04. Some battling going on mid-pack here for the 12th position.
And definitely those things trying to get sorted out. Also another battle on the racetrack, the 84 Jimmy North and the 65 of Ed Williams Jr. That has calmed down as well. So some drivers shuffling, trying to pick up a position here or there. Again, when you get into these long green flag runs, it's really hard to make up positions because you're racing the track more than the other cars, because this place is slick with very minimum banking, trying to figure out the line that works. Looking up front, the leaders have cleared all lap traffic for the time being, and each of them is probably separated by about 3 to 4 car lengths at this point. However, G. Allen Lewis is no longer picking up ground at the rate that he was before, and now the battle is re-risen as the 4 CJ LeVere going to the inside of the 04 of Mike King. That battle is for the 12th position. LeVere's going to get it done, and the 25 now is also going to go around that 04 car, so the 04 kind of washed up the track and got stuck up there.
Yeah, and CJ LeVere was, we saw him a couple of cautions ago get turned into the inside wall, and he has quite a bit of left side damage, but it doesn't seem to be hurting his car too much. Now, he probably notices the car handling a bit different. It probably is a little bit slower. However, this is a track where you can get away with a little bit of damage, as the track is not too aero dependent. So the number 4 car of CJ LeVere doing all that he can. And as we start to look back at the lead battle, the number 8 of Chad Cole is working on the 13 of Dwayne Vincent. Not quite there yet, but let me tell you, Chad Cole has been the fastest car on the track the last couple of laps, and he has inched his way closer and closer to Dwayne. And now Chad has not led any laps this race to my knowledge. As we go on board with the number 8 of Chad Cole, we see where he's gaining his time. Entering turn number 1, he enters a little bit higher, and he's a little higher in the center, but a lot of times that gives that quicker arc on exits. We saw him just go straight to the bottom, but Dwayne gets a good exit off of turn number 2, clears him by a couple more feet, but Chad Cole entering hard. And Chad certainly looking to battle for this lead. Lewis doing a good job in third, but starting to lose the lead battle right now, and these top 3 have really pulled away from the rest of the field, as Jonathan Cadell in fourth is 5 seconds behind the lead battle. So the lead battle probably most interesting right now as Cole tries to get underneath the 13 of Dwayne Vincent.
And definitely, maybe Alan Lewis driving the wheels off that thing to catch these guys again. He was knocking off 2 tenths quicker. Maybe he literally drove the wheels off it and might have burnt out a right rear or right front, because he is significantly dropping off of that group. Now we have a battle for 8th and 9th side by side. It's the 65 Ed Williams Jr. Has just been overtaken by the 84 car of Jimmy North, and now the 38 Mark Bratcher trying to make that stick on the top side. He's going to try to pick up another spot as well. He will. The 65 just can't find the grip. He's going to pick it back up just as the 47 of Arnold was about to get back around him. Way sideways off too, so now 47's going to go around on the 4 of LeVere. Here comes the 25 car. So the 65 of Ed Williams Jr. just lost about 5 spots there in that lap.
Yeah, we just saw the 78 of Keith Brooks Jr. stuck in the outside wall. Doesn't seem to be coming off of it. Might be having a computer issue right now. He doesn't appear to be. He might be trying to let everyone go by until he can unstick himself. But actually, he's still stuck in the wall and not pulling himself. There he goes. Might have had a computer issue or something happened with 78. Looking back, it appears that he completely missed turn number 3, drove up and hit the fence hard. Tough break for Keith Brooks. Was running well inside the top 10 after having to come from the back.
Yeah, you can see that replay there, just overdrove it, and when you turn off that wall, the car can really suck around, and he didn't want to bring on a caution. Now the caution flag is going to fly. 84 car going around. That is going to be, I do believe, Jimmy North in the 84. He was running 7th. He's around in turns 1 and 2. That's going to bring out our 10th caution of the day, rather. Looks like he may have gotten some assistance from the 38 of Mark Bratcher, slightly pushing up the racetrack. We've seen that before tonight. They were going so close to each other into turn 1 that there was no room for error. The 38 just pinched up a little bit, and it spun the 84, and then the 84 did a good job at locking it up because a whole lot of other race cars came flying by him, and luckily none of them were collected.
Yeah, we have seen that was a tight battle for a bunch of laps around Jimmy North. We had the cars battling from about 7th all the way to 13th, pretty close with each other. Bratcher, as the lucky dog comes around, but Mark Bratcher entered turn 1 a little bit hot. He doesn't come up much until the contact. Now, when that contact is made, he's probably really heavy on the brakes, and when you make contact with the car above you, it sort of takes the downforce off the nose and sends you up the track even more. But Jimmy was trying to run the 38 tight, and Bratcher wasn't quite to the flat. He was sort of in the middle of that low banked groove. So somewhat of a racing deal. They might call it on Bratcher. I think they'll likely call it on Bratcher, where he will have to go to the end along this line most likely. But that's just something you often see here in New Hampshire, as a lot of the cars come down pit road. As looking at the exit, a few guys going with 2-tire strategy, including John Abbott and Eric Arnold. I believe Dwayne Vincent is the first car who took 4 tires.
Well, it helps when you come in first to lead first. Dwayne Vincent maintaining that so important track position to this point in the race. He's pretty much been up front all race long. Now we're hearing that the 29 car missing the pit box being Brennan Mercer. That's the second time we've seen that happen to somebody this race so far. Taking a look on pit road, trying to see what happened here. I think he just completely missed it. I know we saw this incident earlier where it may have been the 16 of Steve Ritter kind of went a little bit to the left and realized he was too far, but I think the 29 just figured out he blew it, because by the time he was starting to go over, there was nothing there, so he just drove straight through. So a tough break for Brennan Mercer. You're taking a look at the replay there with the onboard. Brennan Mercer, tough luck at that point in the race. He's currently being shown as the leader. The question is he going to come back down and try to make that pit stop, or does he figure if he comes down, he's going to go to the end of the lead lap, drop back to 23rd, so he has to stay out and hope that the cautions fall his way and try to keep himself up front.
Yeah, it does appear that he's going to keep himself out there. And the one thing to his benefit right now is that John Abbott took 2 tires. Actually, Brennan Mercer will be coming down pit road. I think he stayed, once he missed his stall, he decided to lead the last lap to get a bonus point, so that's why he didn't come down last time by. So the leader on this restart, is we have a few wave around cars in front of the leader, will be the number 10 of John Abbott. Now, as I mentioned earlier, getting some damage here is not the end of the world. We saw John Abbott back it into the wall pretty hard early on, but he's done a pretty good job rebounding and has been competitive. So that front row, we have 2 tires for both Eric Arnold and John Abbott, and then 4 tires will be starting third. So I would say Dwayne Vincent with his 4 tires is in a pretty good spot, but have to be careful here. He's really racing the 8 more than anybody, but he wants to win this race, and he doesn't want to make a mistake. Certainly giving up any position to the number 8 will be rough to make up, so he wants to keep himself in front of Chad Cole. But we have cars on varying strategies here as we come through 3 and 4. Eric Arnold and John Abbott. John Abbott the leader. As the pace car turns down pit road, John Abbott goes, and Dwayne Vincent does a great job of anticipating that start.
Yeah, the 8 Chad Cole's going to throw it down there to the bottom on the inside of Eric Arnold, trying to make that stick. Arnold dropping back, and also the 10 John Abbott doesn't have the speed off the corner, and now the 13 of Vincent is going to go side by side with him going into 3. The 8 Chad Cole really gets on the brakes hard, nearly gets a tap from the 51.
Yeah, Dwayne Vincent looking for that lead, coming down the backstretch, entering turn number 3. John Abbott with the 2 tires and some damage. Not quite as strong as that 13 car of Dwayne Vincent. So Dwayne trying to clear him, and he gets a great run out of turn number 4 down the front stretch. Vincent back to the lead, so he did exactly what he needed to do. Chad Cole's going to follow, or at least try to, as the 8 of Cole works underneath the 10 of Abbott. But not able to clear Abbott. Actually, he gets a great run out of turn number 2, and there he clears him. As we have trouble somewhere, don't see where yet.
Trying to take a look, a near wreck there off through turns 3 and 4. It was the 31, Jonathan Cadell. Got a little bit of help from the 26 car of Jose Gonzalez sliding up. 26 got the 31. Did a good piece of driving to save that race car, and everybody managed to keep it pointed straight, so no caution. Taking a look at the replay on the E-wind, so another close call, almost another caution. But one thing that previous caution really wiped out is the 5-second lead that those 3 leaders had. So the question is, can anybody outside of the top 5 contend with them? But right now, 4th and 5th, Eric Arnold, John Abbott only on 2 tires, so those top 3 drivers starting to pull away with the lead, as the 51 of Alan Lewis actually had issues there off turn number 2 as he goes way up the track in turns 3, so it doesn't look like the 51 car can really keep up with Cole and Vincent at this point.
Yeah, that 51 of Lewis out of 2, very similar to what happened to Guy Snyder. Didn't hit the wall quite as hard, but you just don't want to lift off that gas on exit. And sometimes you try to drive through the looseness when the car just unwinds and just ends up getting really loose. He tried to drive through and hit the wall. It didn't seem to hurt him too bad. And we saw with Jose Gonzalez on the replay moments ago, he just got into turn number 3 a little too hot. There's a bump in the braking zone for turn 3 at New Hampshire. And sometimes you get over that and lock your tires a little bit, those front tires when you're heavy on the brakes. So Jose going up the track, Jonathan Cadell, have to give him kudos. That was a great save by Cadell to keep us green, and we remain green. Alan Lewis starting to push hard, hits the wall again out of turn number 2, not as hard as 2 laps ago, but the battle for the lead is a 2-horse fight as of right now. Dwayne Vincent trying to hold off Chad Cole.
Yeah, those cars look pretty evenly matched. I mean, they stuck together earlier. Again, we saw the 51 make a charge, but he just does not have the speed that 13 and 8 cars do. But I think the 13 and 8 pretty even, almost even to the point where I don't think Chad Cole's going to make the pass, because even if he can knock off a couple of real quick laps, passing somebody is going to be very difficult because you have to alter your preferred line. And if you really don't have a race car that is at least a little bit faster than the guy in front of you, it's going to be real tough to make that pass unless he can force an issue out of the 13 of Dwayne Vincent. But Dwayne Vincent normally spot on perfect, and that's why he has a handful of wins to this point in the season. But those two pulling away at this point. Vincent 3/10 away from Cole, about 4 or 5 car lengths, and then it's over a second back to G. Allen Lewis, and the times increased from there. 23 cars on the lead lap at this point. Last car on the lead lap is the 27 of Guy Snyder the Ford.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that lead battle. Chad, even though, as we saw in the previous run, where we went about 15 laps, I believe, Cole looked really good as the tires started to wear, but he really needed Dwayne to make a mistake, and Dwayne Vincent is not a driver who makes many mistakes. As you said, 11 wins on the year, I believe, to Chad Cole's 8. Certainly the class of the field as they start to edge away a little more from Alan Lewis. As you said, Guy Snyder, last car running, he's simply too damaged right now to keep up that hit out of turn number 2 really did a number on his car. As we look through the field right now, actually one thing I want to point out, Eric Arnold in the number 47, currently shown in position number 4, and right behind him is John Abbott in the 10. So their strategies, both taking 2 tires on that last caution, I would say it's working out very, very well as they find themselves running about 10 positions higher than they were before that caution, and they have the speed to keep themselves there as this field spreads out. So Eric Arnold, second place last week, currently shown in 4th.
And definitely taking a look for battles up here on the lead lap at this point in the race. I mean, we have some cars that are bunched up actually side by side now for the 16th spot. It's the 84 Jimmy North to the inside of the 04. Actually, we're 3 wide with the 16 lap car up at the fence, but it's Jimmy North trying to make it work on the inside of the 04 to Mike King. That's the battle for 16th position at this point. King is going to get the runoff to possibly clear Jimmy. Jimmy's going to throw it in there again into turn number 3 and make something work on the harder way to pass is on the inside. Is going to get a decent runoff 4. You can see the car wiggling, but they're going to be nose to nose by the start finish line.
Yeah, that was Steve Ritter on the outside of that 3 wide last time by through 1 and 2, as Jimmy North and Mike King seem to be having a battle that's gone on for 25 laps, whether they were running in 10th or now for 15th. Jimmy North gets the better of that battle for now. Actually 16th, I should say. So move Jimmy up to 16th right there. Right in front of him is Ronnie Potts.
Oh,
we have a caution on the racetrack.
Caught that out of the corner of my eye. The 78 Keith Brooks Jr. off of turn number 2, running on the lead lap. Sorry to jump in there. I was taking a look at Gottschalk, and I saw a bright yellow figure smack the wall. That is, again, the 78 off turn 2. Pounded the wall and got an interesting rebound. Actually spun him around across the nose into the wall. And that's going to bring out our 11th caution of the night as he comes down pit road to service repairs as you take a look at the replay there on the E1.
Yeah, as we look at this replay, you saw Keith Brooks Jr. was running 7th. I think he's grown a little bit frustrated, and he hit the wall in the center of 1 and 2 trying to get a good entry. And when he came back, he was trying to bring it down on exit, thought that he gave up enough speed, but a lot of times you hit the wall early on in the corner, you'll hit the wall again later on exit. And as he approached the exit, you could just see just how much he was trying to pull it down. He stood on the gas. A lot of times you could actually stand on the gas and get the car to rotate. It's not good for the tires, but it'll get you out of a bind, but it did not work for the 78 of Keith Brooks Jr. that time as he hit the wall hard on exit and spun him right around. So a single car wreck. That Jegs machine, yellow and black, Keith Brooks Jr.
And definitely, and once you get green flag racing, the laps fly by because in the last 15 minutes we've taken up about a quarter of the laps. We're currently working lap 97 of 120. Again, Dwayne Vincent, definitely the superior car of the night, leading almost every lap so far. Again, Chad Cole trying to find the balance on that race car. The leader's not coming down pit road on this caution. So Chad Cole hoping possibly to come down one more time, make some minor adjustments, and try to get that car in contention, again, to battle with Vincent or force an error as Cole actually faked coming down pit road that last time around. Again, another partner of ETV Live is the HD Radio Network, the home of ETV Live Radio. The HD Radio Network gives you a variety of stations to choose from, including big 80s metal, old HDR classics, old HDR country, and more. Take your pick and rock your brains out, dude. The HD Radio Network stations are featured on iTunes Radio, TuneIn Radio, and also listed on the Windows Media Guide. Listen today from hdradionetwork.com, or take it with you. Get the mobile app from tunein.com.
Yeah, and when you're Alan Lewis, going back to that fake pit by Chad Cole, when you're Alan Lewis running in 3rd, he saw that he didn't quite have the speed to get up there and race for the lead that last run. So when you're Alan, you want to do the opposite of what the leaders do. As we look at that replay again of Chad Cole really trying to fake out his competitors, keeping it on the apron for all of 3 and 4, then just diving out before he got to the commitment cone. Alan Lewis dives in just before the commitment cone, and Lewis doing what they don't. So everyone who came down pit road took 4 tires. They lose a little bit of track position, but the 51 of Lewis will be restarting in the 6th position. So he has a few cars to pass, but that's what you have to do if you want to win this race. You got to do whatever the other guys aren't, basically. So Dwayne Vincent, Chad Cole stay out. John Abbott, who took 2 in the previous caution, stays out. Mark Bratcher will be restarting from 4th, Jose Gonzalez in 5th, and then Alan Lewis, the first car who pitted on this caution, will be restarting 6th.
And definitely, again, Vincent showing that he has a dominant car on that last green flag run. We're coming up closely to about 20 laps to go. Taking a look, the pace car lights are off, so we're going to come green to 21 to go, and we take lap number 100. Does Chad Cole have anything for Dwayne Vincent, and will we make it green all the way through? Again, after starting with a fair number of cars, 32 on the lead lap, several of them back in the garage, and 23 left on the lead lap as of now. I really haven't seen anybody that can compete remotely close even with Vincent and Cole. We saw some attempts there with the 51 of Alan Lewis, but he couldn't keep up in the long run. So does anybody have anything from Vincent and Cole, and does Cole have anything from Vincent?
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. Chad Cole has been very competitive this race, right with Vincent. So if Dwayne makes any mistakes whatsoever, Chad will be there to capitalize, and of course Chad's going to do everything in his power to win this race, but we know he's a clean racer and he will get the job done cleanly if he gets the job done. So Chad Cole restarting second, Dwayne holding off on the green as he's waiting, and there goes Dwayne Vincent with a good restart. We'll have the lead entering turn number 1. Chad Cole, also a good restart, clears the guys for second. So next time by will be 20 laps to go. It's about 20 and a half at this point as Alan Lewis trying to take full advantage of 4 tires. The number 51, oh, close call, sorry. I thought that we were going to possibly see the number 51 hooked, but the 51 of Alan Lewis trying to get by these guys with the older tires as quick as possible, because if he's going to get it done, he wants to get it done early to make his life a whole lot easier. 51 up to 3rd.
All in fair play, Dwayne Vincent waited the longest time he has all night to go on that green flag. That actually made it go 3 wide back in the pack with Justin Wilson. Those guys were able to sort that out at this point. You mentioned the guy with a fast race car, the 51 of G. Allen Lewis. Can he get it done? Up the 3rd position, about 2 car lengths off of the back bumper of Chad Cole. He's going to really throw it in there to turn 3. Pushes up a little bit, has good speed on corner exit, and maybe we'll make up a little bit of time that cycle around the racetrack. Now it's 47 of Eric Arnold being pushed down the front straightaway, and the 37 Ben Burnett got caught up. Oh, and the 38 turning the 47 Eric Arnold being turned by Mark Bratcher in turn number 1. Cautions out, 31 in it, the 27 now piling in as well, and it's going to be our 12th caution of the night. And interesting, the 47 now wrecking the 38 of Bratcher under caution, and it's falling apart on the backstretch.
You know, a lot of tempers there, and I feel for Eric Arnold. He was having a great run after a great run last week, and that's a situation where Bratcher finds himself in trouble again. Entering turn number 1, once again, this was not an intentional wreck by any means, but you enter a little bit too deep entering turn number 1, you just lose the nose. You got to enter easy. These cars, you enter easy and exit hard. That's really the strategy to get it to work here. You enter hard, you can't make the center of the corner at all. So Bratcher had enough room to make it work, but got in too deep and slid up into the 47 of Eric Arnold. So tough break for Eric Arnold. And this caution might help the front 2 a little bit, because as these tires heat cycle, it's less of an advantage for Allen. The heat cycle gives a little bit more grip back into the tires of the 13 and the number 8. Now they won't have as much grip as Alan Lewis, but it won't be as much of a difference as it was following the caution that Allen pitted. So Allen will be restarting 3rd right with these guys with a slight tire advantage. The cars coming down pit road are from 18th on back, mostly cars with a lot of damage. Everyone else stays out, as when we restart this race, it'll be about 14 to go. Race control has assigned Mark Bratcher the blame for the caution, and he will have to park. So Bratcher comes into this race 10th in points, might find himself 12th in points, leaving New Hampshire.
And I'm not one to speculate, but I don't know if there was. I don't know that there wasn't anything behind that, because I was looking at the laps prior. Maybe the 38 felt like the 47 cut him off 4, because I was going to say the 38 pushed that 47 all the way down the front straightaway, nearly cut off the 37, and ended up causing that wreck. So I don't think the wreck was intentional, but I think they meant to race each other a little bit harder than they normally would. there, and then obviously the retaliation being the 47 of Arnold taking the 38 head-on into the wall on the back straightaway uncalled for is actually going to have them both back in the garage, so both of their nights are done. An interesting shakeup again. Emotions, tempers flaring at these short tracks, and after the night that we've had so far with 12 plus cautions, you can imagine some drivers to get a little bit irritated. We're looking to get the one to go next time around, and the laps continue to wind down, but the energy's only picking up, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's a good catch, because that was a bit of a slide job exiting turn number 4 before that wreck happened. And so Mark probably didn't like it very much, and he barely had a gap to put his car in front of Ben Burnett. And a lot of times when you have a car in your bumper like that, when he had Ben Burnett, Burnett backed off early for Bratcher, but when you're that car, when you're in Bratcher's position, it's sometimes pretty hard. You sort of lift for the corner right after the guy behind you does, so that you don't hit the brakes right in front of your competitor. And so that's another situation where it's very easy to overdrive entry. But the 38 and the 47, their races both over, both behind the behind the wall in the garage. Eric Arnold loading up, certainly frustrated. Eric Arnold had a great run going. That Navy car was looking to get 2 top 5s in a row, and he had a shot. As the cars double up, next time by we will be getting the green flag with 14 laps to go.
And definitely, and not a lot of words exchanged, surprisingly, between those two, but since they're both back in the garage, who knows what's going on back there between those two heated drivers who could have major chase implications, obviously, with the 38 team coming into tonight already in a hole. That's not going to help, and that's probably going to kill their championship hopes, or what was left of them still early in the chase, but that's a big deficit to overcome. Looking to come back to take the green flag for 14 laps to go. Dwayne Vincent, Chad Cole, G. Allen Lewis, and John Abbott top 4. The Ford First Racing Mustang pace car down pit road. Vincent wastes no time. There he goes. Green flag out. The 51 of Allen Lewis now has an advantage on the 8 of Chad Cole. They're going to be nose to nose going into turn number 1. The 58 trying to make it work on the bottom, not the preferred lane for passing, trying to get clear. He can't get it now. He will off turn 2, and the 51 is going to try to move forward now, as also Ben Burnett taking a look to the inside of Chad Cole.
Yeah, Lewis did a fantastic job of anticipating that restart. We saw Ben Burnett go a lap down before with his damage. Now he's competing for third place right now, but Allen Lewis, if he wants to get the lead, he's got to do it quick. This is when he's got the biggest advantage. He had a great restart, got by Chad Cole, should be able to hold that position, and now he's going to work on Dwayne. Now Allen, who may have some damage from when he hit the wall at a turn number 2, elected not to fix it during his pit stop because track position is key. Chad Cole, the number 8, getting pressured big time by the 37 of Ben Burnett. And Ben Burnett, with, I believe, fresher tires, is looking to complete that pass. Side by side, 37 very loose, trying to just put the hammer down.
Al was close there off of turn number 4. The 37, again, Ben Burnett battling for the 3rd spot, is going to work his way around Chad Cole. What is happening to that 8 car? The 8 falling off here in the late stages of this race at New Hampshire. Not going to look to the inside yet, so he's going to sit down and stay in 4th place for now. And how about that 51? G. Allen Lewis nearly half a car length off of Vincent in the corner. He's going to drop to 2, 3, 4 car lengths now off of turn 4. Not the exit that he was looking for sure. Vincent has the lead right now, but I can't tell you that 51's not going to get up to that back bumper and look for the win because he's got a fast car with those 4 tires on that last pit stop.
Yeah, and if they get to racing, Ben Burnett will be creeping up on them. We saw Ben Burnett qualify in the 3rd position, I believe. Yeah, Ben Burnett qualified 3rd, ran up there, had some damage, got it fixed, and now Ben Burnett is back in the running here. Chad Cole a little bit off the pace compared to these guys right now, but as they get more laps on these tires, that helps Dwayne Vincent because the guys with fresher rubber lose more of that fresh rubber, lose that grip. So Dwayne able to capitalize. It's 10 laps to go right now. Now remember, we get to 5 to go. The caution would end the race. We would not restart. So the Allen Lewis, the G-Man, as he is affectionately called, the G-Man trying to get a run through 3 and 4, doing all he can. We see him entering way deeper than the leader, actually. But, you know, obviously when you enter deep, you give up a little bit in the center. And right now, Dwayne just running smooth laps. He knows no mistakes. As long as I get off of these corners, I have a good chance of winning this race.
A lot of shuffling. Let's take a look at the 9th position. The 26, Jose Gonzalez, just lost 2 spots to the 25, the 04, and now the 5 of Bill Tomer, working a way around Jose Gonzalez, who was 9th last time by the stripe. Possibly going to drop to 11th, if not 12th. And this is a big group of cars, a herd of cars, you could say, working mid-pack here, and a lot of shuffling going on. Everyone keeping their noses clean for now, but there's been a lot of close calls with cars trying to pick up those last couple spots before the race winds down here. So just another side note to keep an eye on is this large pack, but it is a 4-car breakaway at this point. Vincent, Lewis, Burnett, and Cole, and then 2.5 seconds back to John Abbott in 5th.
Yeah, Jose Gonzalez with a lot of damage on his car, just getting stuck right now to the outside. People are actually completing that pass, as once again, while the Battlefield lead is still single file, we're going to look at the number 65 of Ed Williams Jr. and the number 84 of Jimmy North. They have been around each other this entire second half of the race, whether they're competing for 12th, 17th, or 7th. Right now, Ed Williams Jr. shown in 7th, a good run for that 65 car. Jimmy North hotly contesting that. So another good battle on the track is almost some contact on exit there. Jimmy North looks a little bit faster right now, looking for a way around Ed Williams Jr.
Definitely trying to figure it out. Again, you mentioned these guys have been getting together all race long, similar to Cole and Vincent. Oh, 84 is going to get into the back of the 65 of Ed Williams Jr. They're off 2, no spin. 84 in the wall, 65 in the wall now. It's going to give the 25 of Silver a run going into turn number 3. Let's see if he can capitalize on this. Taking a look maybe to the inside of the 65. 3 wide, almost got into the left rear and backs off for now.
Yeah, Nick Silver knew it was going to be a tight squeeze, and he wisely backed off, not wanting to cause a wreck, as Jimmy North throws it to the outside of Ed Williams through turns 1 and 2. Last time by, Ed Williams just got it a little bit too hot, had to put on the brakes, and that's why Jimmy got into him. But the side-by-side continues. Jimmy North hitting the wall out of turn number 2, and now Nick Silver looking low again. Silver, he has serious front-end damage, but wow, almost contact made again between the 65 and the 84. Silver, he has some front-end damage, but he's got some speed still in that car, able to compete.
Yeah, the 4, CJ LeVere battling hard with the 04 of Mike King. Throws it in, slides up. Now he's into the 04. The 84 of Jimmy North is into the 65. I don't know how these guys are all still facing forward. All of these drivers beating and banging. Now Jimmy North slow off turn number 2. The 25 car is going to look to the inside. That's Nick Silver, which is allowing the CJ LeVere 4 car and the 04 of King to catch them. This is a big group of cars here battling really close quarters racing mid-pack, and as the laps continue to wind down, Vincent working his way off turn number 2, this time by the stripe, is going to get 2 laps to go.
Yeah, Dwayne Vincent starting to edge away from Alan Lewis, but I tell you what, at the very least, Alan Lewis has put himself in a better position with his strategy, able to get around Chad Cole. And Ben Burnett, what a comeback, and we might have one around. It's to the inside right now. We stay green. The 5 car of Bill Tomer around on the backstretch, but I think we'll remain green because he was able to put it on the apron.
Well, yeah, the 84 Jimmy North blows up with laps to go. Nearly wrecked the whole bunch of cars. The 5 Bill Tomer went head on, hard impact into the tires. He's actually still going at the end of the lead lap, but it is the Dwayne Vincent working his way off turn 4, going to try to complete the Dwayne Vincent 120 at New Hampshire, so to speak. He's pretty much led all the laps. He's been up front. He had a challenge from G. Allen Lewis, but the 51 trying to make it happen here on the white flag lap. He's only 3 car lengths off. He had a good time there, but it looks like the 13 of Vincent just has to make it clean through turns number 3 and 4, and he's going to go to victory lane with that Havoline Ford Fusion. The 51 really throwing it in, trying to get anything he could. Alan Lewis going to push up to the wall. Dwayne Vincent going to pick up another win on the season and go to victory lane.
Win number 12 of the year for Dwayne Vincent. Win number 1 of the chase for Dwayne Vincent. As we saw, Alan Lewis had to make take a shot at it through 3 and 4, which he did. He wasn't going to use the bumper. He was just trying to get there. And as they wrecked after the race.
Yeah, the 5 of Bill Tomer wrecking after the race, being wrecked rather by the 27 of Guy Snyder in turn 1 after the race. Heavy impact for those cars. Those guys that were battling for a good majority of the race, so who knows what could have happened there, but that was after the race. Chad Cole leaving the racetrack disappointed. With the standards of wanting to go to victory lane every week, 4th place, he's going to hang on to his points lead, but he has to think of what could have been. Dwayne Vincent's going to celebrate by burning it down. We're going to go to our final commercial break. We're going to come back with the recap on the race and the interviews with the top 3 drivers, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back from New Hampshire.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4, and the checkered flag, he wins his first NASCAR iRacing.
Taking a look at the replay there, post-race action at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Again, race number 2 of the 2013 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series. Chase for the championship in the books. I have now, down here on pit road, caught up with our 3rd place finisher, driver number 37. That's Ben Burnett. Ben, you qualified 3rd, you finished 3rd. Was that as long of a race behind the wheel as it was up here?
Oh, that was brutal. Real brutal, especially when I had a lot of damage that I didn't have a chance to get repaired.
Well, speaking of damage, you're coming home with a top 3 finish. So how about that? Talk us through. I mean, we saw the racetrack. It was very slick. Drivers pushing up. A lot of sheet metal being bent. How did the race go from your perspective? You mentioned you got some damage. So how did you work on that through the night to get a 3rd place finish?
Well, I had about 4.5 minutes of damage, and I managed to get about 1:15 of it done, which apparently took care of all the suspension, because the driving part of it, the car was fine. It drove great. It was a little touchy while I was trying to fight for the lucky dog, but once I got the lucky dog and was able to get back on the lead lap and work on my car just a little bit more, it fixed, like I said, all the suspension and steering parts that were damaged, and the car ran great. A lot of work. If I hadn't had to come from so far back, I think I might have had something for Alan and Dwayne. Just too far to come, too many cars to pass.
Well, hats off for getting that damage fixed and getting the finishing position that you did. You yourself not being in the points that are going for the chase for the championship here at the end of the season. So you're looking for W's maybe to spoil the party for some of these chasers. Looking ahead to the next 8 weeks, are there any tracks that you got circled that you're thinking that maybe you'll be up there in contention and possibly bring home a win before the season's out?
Yeah, I believe there's a few. Martinsville, I'm real confident there. I love that place. There's a few other ones. Dover next week. I enjoy running there, so I'm hoping for a good finish there. I had a few weeks of bad luck leading up to the chase, which knocked me out of the chase. Kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, but third place finish after what I went through tonight makes it feel a lot better.
Definitely a long, hard-fought battle for you. Congrats on your top 3 finish. Any shout-outs you want to throw out there?
Yeah, ETV Live for sponsoring me. Guys do a great job broadcasting. Appreciate all y'all do. Hippie Doug's Paint Shop, ASCO Sanitation Services, and RSR, Inside Sim Racing, all the sponsors that sponsor the league. Appreciate all they do for us.
Well, congratulations on your finish and good luck next week.
Yeah, I need to give one more. My teammate CJ, he had a little bit of bad luck, but he's been a good teammate to me.
And definitely, now I do believe Harrison, you're down there on pit road. You've caught up with our second place finisher, Alan Lewis.
Yeah, I'm here with Alan Lewis, driver of the 51 Chevrolet this evening. And Alan, your first RSR full throttle start of the season, probably first start period in the Full Throttle Cup Series. A really nice showing. Now, we saw you pit with 20 to go to get the tire, or try to get a tire advantage on the leaders. But before that, we did catch you catching the wall off of turn number 2 pretty hard. Did it affect your car at all?
Oh yeah, my car was broke. I had to steer opposite way down the straightaway, but just don't have enough experience in this car. Dwayne's real fast. He's DWC fast, and it's hard to keep up with him. But the only way I could beat those guys if I got offset strategy and felt like I was in position to get a second place finish there, and maybe have a shot at Dwayne. But it's so hard to pass here, and these things push like a freaking dump truck, and it just doesn't make it, doesn't help anything when you take your right front off the car. So we had to do what we could with what we had, and just don't have enough experience in this car yet to know that I can't drive full throttle up off every corner, and that's what caused me to get in the wall. But maybe I'll learn from my mistakes and do better. Dover's going to be pretty tough with that next week. So
Yeah, for not having too much experience with the Cup car, certainly a daunting task, and to come home with a second place finish is impressive. Is there anything else that really stood out to you that you learned with this car throughout the race?
yeah, I mean, I'm basically racing the trucks every week, and I have not a lot of experience at all in this Cup car, but I learned that you just got to play with the throttle a lot. I mean, you can't just full throttle off every corner like you can in the trucks. These things have a lot of horsepower in them, so you just got to be careful with it.
So looking ahead, are you going to look to run the entire chase with these guys?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's what we paid for, so we're going to try to get a couple wins in there. I like Martinsville. I like Talladega. Obviously, everybody likes Talladega, but Homestead is like my best track, so can't wait for that. But yeah, we're going to run some races and get some more experience, and who knows, man. But I just needed some experience in this car, between running this league and maybe even wanting to run for pro and DWC and all that. You got to get experience in the car somewhere, and this is a good place to do that.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, really solid debut tonight, especially for someone who admits doesn't run the Cup car that often, but certainly adapting very quickly. So, Alan, who would you like to thank after tonight's second place finish?
Just everybody at Galaxy Gaming. They're not an iRacing group anymore, but they do a lot of gaming, and it's cool to hang out with those guys. And thank everybody at Real Sim Racing. This is a good place. Had a lot of fun. I was in a room with Guy Snyder and David Lanza, a couple of my old teammates from back in the day, so that was fun. And that's about all, man. This thing's sponsorless, but we fourth the bill out of the pocket. So we'll just have to see if we can run some more races and make some things happen.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's a good point. If you are looking to sponsor one of these sim cars, that 51 might be one to look at. So that was Alan Lewis, tonight's second place finisher. I believe Evan has caught up with tonight's winner.
And for the 12th time on the 2013 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, Dwayne Vincent climbs from his number 13 Haviland Ford Fusion to take the win here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Dwayne, you had a little bit of an off week last week. You lost the points lead. You're only 6 back now. Tell us what this means to start chipping back away at that lead.
Yeah, it means a lot, man. I dug myself a hole, and I got to get myself out of it, man, and this certainly helps.
Well, speaking of holes and taking a look at the updated points, you are 6 points behind Chad Cole, and then you have 32 points. So 26 back from you is the third place car. So it seems you and Chad Cole have broken away a little bit. Knowing the tracks coming up, we have 8 races to go. Obviously, Talladega is one that's worrisome. Is there any track that you're really just hoping to survive besides that one? And what tracks do you think that you've circled and you know that you can possibly get another win there and try to capitalize and get max points?
Well, the two that I'm really, really concerned about is Martinsville and Dega. We do have fairly decent luck at the plate tracks, but anything could happen there. All the rest, I think I'll be okay at. I just got to have a good luck, But Martinsville and Dega is the two that I'm kind of concerned about.
Yeah, definitely. If you're perfect, it means you have a shot at winning the championship. Talk us through tonight's race. The first 60 laps took twice as long as the last 60. A little bit of a caution fest early on. Most of that was in your rear view mirror. Did you have any close calls for you, And then what'd you see back there?
Oh, it was a mess back there, but I just had to ride it out, man. Try to keep it out front. Really, it was a gamble trying to stay out as long as I could and not get back there and all that mess. But, everybody, I want to say everybody that ran up front, everybody ran clean. Lewis, I know he doesn't run with us that often, but he ran real clean. I know he was on fresher tires, but the damage he was talking about explains that because I know he's real fast everywhere he goes. Chad Cole, everybody, Jose, Ritter, Abbott, even Guy Snyder, everybody ran clean, man. So it was fun towards the end. The first half we just had to get through.
And looking forward to next week at Dover. What are you predicting from that race?
We're going to give them hell, man.
Fair enough. Well, who do you want to thank? Who makes it happen for you?
Everybody at Red Ass, all my teammates, Bob Earl. Hopefully I can sit in that seat, man. I'm trying. ETV, everything you guys do. Everybody at RSR for putting up with all our stuff. And Mom and Dad sitting at home watching this stuff. They enjoy it.
Well, congrats on your 12th win of the season, and good luck next week.
Thank you, man.
Well, Harrison, it was an interesting night, so to speak, at the Magic Mile, the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. After 120 laps, Dwayne Vincent taking home his 12th win of the season. Your thoughts on the night, and then looking forward to the next 8 races of the chase?
Well, certainly a nice rebound for Dwayne Vincent. Sometimes when you have a bad week, especially to start the chase, it can mess with your mind. But Dwayne, the veteran that he is, comes in here, doesn't affect him whatsoever, leads the most laps, wins the race, and actually gains, I believe, 8 points, cuts 8 points out of Chad Cole's lead, cuts it down to 6, and heading into 8 races left, so more than enough time. But a good race. I mean, a lot of cautions in this one, but the racing up front was clean, a lot of hard racing, some hurt tempers or hurt feelings. But heading into Dover, a lot more room to race there, and certainly a unique track of its own. So it's going to be a really, really entertaining final 8 races.
Yeah, definitely have to agree. I mean, once we got to the second half of that race, I mean, the laps just started flying by. We saw some crazy racing there around that mid-pack there when the laps were starting to wind down. And caution's going to happen. Again, I mean, the password for this track was slick to get in. Sorry for giving away that top secret information, but it was true. I mean, the track was slick. People were sliding all over. We saw contact. We saw guys, I mean, they were drifting it off the corner or something. I don't know if they thought it was a global rallycross here or not. But, I mean, it was a crazy race, and Dwayne Vincent had the track figured out. So good job to him. Again, another great job. Alan Lewis making his season debut. Coming home with a second place finish. So great, well-rounded racing. That's going to do it For tonight, again, this was ETV Live's live coverage of the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series presented by Bob Earl Racing. These drivers are gunning for the VRC Mark II virtual racing seat at the end of the season. So for JD Webb, the engineer for tonight's race, Laura Lawson working the cameras for Harrison Weidlitz, thanks for joining me up here in the booth as always. My name is Evan Pasoko, and we'll see you next Monday.